You think you stopped me, you guys over here in Talk Radio 1210 in Ocean City? I'm coming for you even more. I want more big wins. I'm going to shove more of it down your throat, and I'm going to do it quicker so you can't jump in and stop it. So do you get depressed when you hear that? Or do you say, oh, yeah? Well, yes, that's who we're going to take out next, metaphorically there. The good, fair lady running for the Senate. Use it against her. We'll talk about that. Couple of little side notes. One, Sergeant Mark Pacetta, Dan on his Twitter, this is how Philadelphia gets away with it. They're labeling this a suspicious death. The male was located in his bedroom, unresponsive, with his hands tied behind the back and his mouth duct taped. No sign of forced entry. The scene is being held, and they labeled that a suspicious death, not a homicide.
What?
Yes, that's what they do.
No.
And they keep it on to the end of the year, and they keep on rolling over these suspicious deaths.
You're kidding
What do you
me.
need to be labeled a homicide? There, your hands behind your back, duct tape, unresponsive, no entry, you're in your room. And it sounds suspicious to me. No homicide label. You can always change it if you find it's not a homicide. They don't want that to go up on the big board, though, that it's another homicide in Philadelphia.
Wait. So the guy was in his bedroom, unresponsive, hands zip tied, mouth duct taped.
Yes.
But what is it? The no sign of forced entry? That's giving them the implication that there's no foul play here and it's just a suspicious death. It's not a murder.
Yeah.
I'm dumbfounded.
Well, that's what just look at the suspicious death list and you won't believe it in Philadelphia. These guys are good. My point being, you got a big fight with this whole rotten mess that are progressives. And that's just another example. All right. I want to talk about speed cameras here in a minute. But I saw this, and this is an idea of what we're up against. Obviously, last night, you saw the news coverage trying to light the holiday tree, a nice thing in New York. Now, Philadelphia lights it tonight. I don't think I can get over there and cover it, but I'm going to be watching to see what happens. I think it's on Channel 6. Because the hordes, these ungrateful hordes, primarily Palestinians, tried to storm the tree lighting ceremony. One of them had a giant swastika sign. Nice.
Oh.
One of them got a cop's hat somehow or another and set it on fire there.
Come on.
Always nice. So watch for this tonight in Philadelphia. But the Washington Examiner, Dan, has a clip from Palestinian TV, a series there run for kids, and they're getting money from the UN for this education of kids. I'm going to read you some of the dialogue because it's in some Arabic language, so we wouldn't understand it. We'd have to translate it anyhow. There are two hosts, one a female and the other a male. The one host says to a little girl, "Why do you want to be a policewoman? Like who?" The little Palestinian girl says, "Like my uncle." The host says, "What do the police do?" And another male host says, "They catch thieves and troublemakers," whispers it so the little girl can hear it. And the first host then says this, Dan, and this has UN money behind it. This is what we're up against. The first host says, "And they shoot Jews, right?" And the girl says, "Right." The host says, "You want to be like your uncle, right? God willing, when you grow up." The girl says, "I will shoot the Jews." The host says, "All of them?" The girl says, "Yes." The host, "Good." Okay?
Oh.
So each second that this enterprise continues with this delay game with Hamas is another second that we don't get to the bottom of this whole deal, this whole nonsense that's going on out there. All right, now closer to home. Look, the Roosevelt Boulevard was built. It's dangerous, yada, yada, yada. Enforce the laws. Have more cops enforce the laws. But not only do they have the red light cameras on the boulevard, this yo-yo coward, Ed Nielsen, who masquerades, Stan, as a moderate Democrat. Now, the last time I went after, he gloms on to the FOP. The last time I went after him, he said, because of the attack on police, and he's so pro-police, he joined two other radical Democrats one of them in my neighborhood, to come up with a law that would make January 6th every year a day of remembrance. So you're hearing that? January 6th now, a day of remembrance because the police were attacked.
Seriously?
That's who this Ed Nielsen guy is. Now, Dan, invite him back on again because now he's sponsoring a bill. And here's what he said. And I think Dan differs with him on this, but he still might like the bill. He wants speed cameras now essentially all over the place. Ed Nielsen says, our job here in Harrisburg is to change behavior, and this works.
Oh,
Is that
oh,
is
that
that
disgusts.
is
Oh,
it is that
gross.
yeah, hey, Ed,
No.
hey, Eddie, let me follow you around every day. Let's see how many petty laws you break, and let me make a citizen's arrest and fine you right there. But this apparently is getting traction. They see, this is what they do. They use the Roosevelt Boulevard, Brendan Boyle and all these guys in the Northeast who posture, and their argument is, well, if it saves one life, isn't it worth it? Now, the reason they have problems on the Roosevelt Boulevard, you have people running across the highway that shouldn't be, follow the lights, and you have people that are out of control in Philadelphia. Hey, Eddie, what about the driver equity bill? You want to save a life, buddy? Why don't you speak out on that? Hey, Eddie, you can call in from now, whenever. I'll preempt whatever guest says. Dan, President Trump's on the line. Sorry, sir. Hold a minute. Ed Nielsen's
Ed
right
Nielsen
here.
supersedes you.
Hey,
Trump.
Ed, call in anytime. 855-839-1210. You can call in any time of the day or night. Somebody, producer, will hear. We'll tape an interview. Midnight, they'll wake me up. We'll do it. Just let me know when you're coming, Ed. Come in studio.
Come on, Ed.
Come on, Eddie. Can
Government dictating decision making,
Yeah,
man.
that's his job in Harrisburg, this little pipsqueak, right? Who says nothing about all that's going on in Philadelphia. How about the driver equity bill? Are you on board with that, Ed? What have you said about it? You're in Harrisburg. What are you trying to do about that? How about Krasner? Did you vote to impeach Krasner?
It's a great point.
I don't think so. And yet, using the Roosevelt, this is a classic. This is like right out of the national playbook of the national guys with a little pipsqueak here locally who says, yeah, let's use the Roosevelt Boulevard. We'll do test case there. They red light cameras, speed cameras, etc. Now, Dan, you're a fan of the cameras. Are you on board with this one, the speed cameras?
Might be hypocritical for me to be on favor of the speed cameras. I'm quite the speeder myself.
Yeah.
No, like, so my entire argument centered around cameras are, especially with surveillance. I often say I'm in favor of heightened surveillance to a degree, and that's because I think, as a pro-police individual, I think it's important to give the police all the tools they can to,
I know you've been clear on
do the
that.
crimes,
That's been your fig leaf as you're out there naked. You have that as the
But
fig leaf.
this one,
yes.
red light cameras, man.
Yeah.
Sending,
Speed cameras.
Yeah, I know, speed cameras and red light cameras,
Yes,
both.
yeah.
They're both cameras that kind of make me question my, decision making on that.
All right. Now, I would say sometimes I'm in an agreement with a bit of regulation here. Today, Philadelphia City Council is voted on banning shiesties and ski masks of sorts.
Yeah.
Not all over the place. I wouldn't be for that. Even if they wear them to protest where they might be up to no good, they have a right to protest. But it's inside on SEPTA because of all the issues, going into a bank, stuff like that. I'm on board with that. I think that's a reasonable accommodation here. So do you think that's hypocritical?
A little bit.
All right. Well, the reason is, though, you don't have an expectation of privacy in the situations I mentioned.
Yeah, that's fair. That's the thing, is you have like these entities here that you can determine they should each have their own kind of, guidelines and such.
Right.
I think it's fair too.
No, in the case of the speed cameras and all the rest, I mean, everybody, I'm not condoning it per se, but there's reasons why. Maybe the speed limits are not what they should be. Maybe they ought to be more generous. And the people that are really violative are the very same people that are driving around without licenses and, not being stopped, guns and everything else that are illegal. That's the people we ought to be stopping. not the average person making life harder for them.
Thank you for helping me here, because
Okay.
that's kind of where I like you're helping me kind of make up my mind, because that's where my line's drawn is when talking about violent murders and such. I do
Right.
think using surveillance and all to help solve crimes is indeed, but coming after the standard daily individual with red light cameras, with speed
Mm.
cameras, yeah, like
Well, but I don't want more proliferation of cameras. I just want the laws enforced. I know you're saying to help catch them, but I think it's we're not enforcing the laws of those that we've caught. We're not executing them. We're not putting them in jail for life. Would be a better plan. All right, there's a lot to get into there, and we'll
can't
see if
disagree
Ed
with that.
Nielsen, Dan will try. Dan will work his wonders. He'll talk to his secretaries over there. Yeah, Dom is really wanting to know more about this speed camera bill. Look at how they use the Roosevelt Boulevard. Just look at how they use every opportunity to fearmonger away from there to everywhere else. And yet, Dan, I wonder if Ed Nielsen is calling everybody out and saying, having these animals drive through like a dystopian mob on their ATVs and all the rest of it. Is Ed Nielsen in the front lines of that? No. He wants to do something that he thinks he's saving lives. So he's going to restrict or press upon your freedoms here. Well, he said, our job in Harrisburg is to change behavior. Really? Huh. Seems like a soda tax guy. Seems like maybe have too much salt there, Borowski guy. All right, side question, and this came out of nowhere. It was just Dan and I talking after the show.
Hold on, before
Yeah.
we move on, I'm sorry, I'm sending him a text right now.
Oh, okay. Go. You got the.
Yeah, because we've had him on the air
Yeah.
before, and
Okay.
we've got his number through that
Oh,
way.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just said, would you happen to have availability 12:30? I'm gonna send as a suggestion. We want to talk to speed cameras. Dom is on air, upset right now with the notion of, and it's the idea of what, that government should.
Yes.
What's the quote that he did? Because I want to
Oh,
quote
the
it.
quote that he said is that our job in Harrisburg is to change that kind of behavior, and this works.
Great.
So I wonder what other behaviors. Well, I might ask about the January 6th memoriam too, with a couple of radicals who hate the police and want to defund them. All right, 855-839-1210. That's side question.
Text is sent. Cool.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
All right, we want to know today, because things have changed so much, something you didn't have to deal with 20 years ago. Something that wasn't there any time frame you want, around 20 years or so. I'll take off the board people telling you what pronouns to use.
Yeah.
And also worries that cash may not only not be king, but cash might be non-existent with digital dollars and all the rest of it. How about yours, Dan? What will you take off?
Yeah, so what we want right now is it's the today's day and age.
Yes.
What is something that's now newish, technological, anything in today's life that 20 years ago you didn't have to worry about? How about having a charger on you at all times? Having a cord attached to you, because if your phone gets too low, you start stressing out about missing calls from work and all, or family.
Yeah.
I'll take that one off the board.
All righty. That is a very good one. So upside, having the phone. Downside, having to worry about having it charged at all times. Ro, take a note. How about charging it once in a while? All right, 855-839-1210. One other note. Passing at the age of 100 plus of Henry Kissinger reminds me of one of my all-time great hours. We may have it somewhere, Dan. I had Henry Kissinger on first, and then I had Charlie Manuel when we used to do the Charlie Manuel show, back to back. Henry Kissinger had a book of 1,000 pages about China. Charlie had 1,000 pages on the designated hitter. Those two back to back, to me, that's the essence of talk radio as I see it. You talk about diversity, talk about the English language.
That's amazing.
I'm telling you, I understood Charlie Manuel pretty well. Henry Kissinger, I don't know how this guy ever succeeded. The accent was thicker than anything. And when he's not face to face with you over the phone, it was impenetrable. Danny, you've seen pictures of him, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that he dated arguably 8 to 10 of the sexiest women alive at that period of time, at least public women? that were Hollywood stars and the rest of it. And he
Really?
said that power, I can't do the accent here, is the great aphrodisiac. Can you imagine? Oh, Henry, tell me about the geopolitics of Russia.
Wow, I'm looking at some of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Natalie Wood on there? There was just,
So just going from 1 to 12, I don't know how
yeah.
this works.
Uh,
Anna Fleischer, Joanna Barnes, Zsa Zsa Gabor, Marla Thomas, Candice Bergen, Jill St. John, Samantha
oh,
Agar, Edie
Lord.
Williams, Nancy Majeans, and Gina Lolo Brigdia,
Brigida.
and
We
then
never heard of
Barbara
Gina Lola
Walters.
Brigida.
He had a relationship with Barbara Walters?
Oh, yeah, I could see that. But
Yeah.
wait a minute. Zsa Zsa Gabor and Henry Kissinger
Yeah.
were their interpreters with subtitles with the two of them. Can you imagine? Barbara Walters. Oh, my God. What a weasel. Henry Kissinger. Ah, there's no conflict of interest there.
You know, I'm half Hungarian, so I take some pride in Zsa Zsa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She made some regrettable remarks here in Philadelphia. If you Google it,
Oh,
you'll
did
see
she?
oh, yeah. She's lucky she got out of town alive. All right. So it's 855-839-1210. Hit us with something you didn't have to deal with 20 years ago. And also speed cameras. Well, if it saves a life, why wouldn't we have that? Really? Can you imagine the money they would bring with this? Can you imagine just the difficulty you drive? By the way, the federal government now, there's a movement to put in speed restrictions, Dan, in new vehicles. In other words, you couldn't go over a certain number of miles per hour ever, no matter what you did. All right. And government's not involved in this. Now, I don't know about having a car that has the ability to go 100, why you would need that. But what would be the limit? 80? Is 80 a reasonable thing?
Well, I'd use technology to determine it based on the speed limit of the road that you happen to be on
Oh,
using
so curtail
GPS.
it. Yeah, and you can't go a mile over it.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah. Is there ever going to be a day where they say you can't drive with 2 feet? That's it. The revolution is on. I'm throwing tea into the skookle.
Is there going to come a time, though, where, like, these cars that we're driving, like, I have a Toyota Camry. Is it going to be super valuable because collectors are going to want cars that they can actually go over the speed limit in?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, I
Yeah,
might have to hold on to this thing for a
yeah.
while.
855-839-1210.
Hey, so that's a side answer question, though. There you go. Speed
Yeah.
cameras, right? You didn't have to worry about that crap 20 years ago, did you?
No, not
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
AT&T and Verizon Wireless, all you have to do is just push pound 1210. We're coming to you next here. I'll give you the reason why, and Dan, I may be under fire on this, why tonight's debate between Newsom and DeSantis has some importance. Why is it just this, if you're a conservative today, you have to say ho-hum to this? Because President Trump is not in it? Well, what's the reason people are trying to downgrade? I see value in this. I'll tell you why. Coming up here with Dom on Talk Radio 1210. All right, it is Dom time, 855-839-1210. You get on board. So tonight, this was widely anticipated. I'm not exactly sure why, but even Larry Kudlow, who is on Fox News Channel, did what I just said, ho-hum, to this tonight on the Hannity show. And the great debate between Newsom and DeSantis. There are a lot of things at stake here tonight. Now, I know, because of the antagonism of President Trump, the presidential race, this is long awaited. And I'll tell you a couple of the reasons why. I saw a great breakdown of this today. When you look at any metric that you want, COVID, we have not had the great debate on COVID. We've not had a day of reckoning. They've gotten away with it. I looked at some numbers today. Philly.com has up the numbers of the most recent statewide tests for kids in English and math. Dan, there are some schools, there's one in Philadelphia that only 8.6% of the kids are reading on grade level. And there's one, Hartranth, only 3.8% are on math. How can you have a building and all that money where under 4% of the kids are even on grade level, which is minimal, to put it mildly? All right, so we haven't had the day of reckoning. A lot of this is due to shutdown of schools, all the nonsense went on around COVID. So who did better, Newsom or DeSantis? Well, when you look at mortality rates and you factor in the age of people in Florida per person versus California, Florida smoked California in that outcome. When you look at the business environment, they did the same thing. When you look at schools, Florida schools measured against California are way ahead. So this debate tonight, let's just get beyond DeSantis, Trump, and all the rest of it. This debate tonight is about the ideas of progressivism versus conservatism. Now, I don't know. I've never interviewed DeSantis. I've only watched him. Newsom I had in studio. And Newsom is not going to be as easy to corner as you think, but he's got so much baggage with what they're doing in California. And he got the home court advantage here. I don't know if Hannity will tag in at some point. So the importance of it is to see these two, particularly if Newsom gets swamped a bit here, to take him out of the running. But it's also the ideas. These two states could not be more different as far as how they're run. California is the progressive, I don't know that it's as bad as Philadelphia or a big city, but by and large, that's how it's run. And DeSantis has run conservative libertarian principles and things that actually work in Florida. It is a big success story. Doesn't mean you have to support DeSantis for president, but he's our guy in the ring tonight. DeSantis is their, Gavin Newsom is their guy. Now, I'd rather it be Kamala Harris. That would be even more exciting. I have to defend it. But I think you'll see that Newsom will be pretty good on his feet. But the overwhelming baggage, particularly if they get into COVID, I would use COVID as a real good testing point of how the two react. Of what Newsom's going to say, well, we didn't know anything then. That's going to be the dodge. Well, you did know after a couple months, and you still went forward with a lockdown state. DeSantis did not do that. And that's where we ought to be. So this idea of just blow this off, it doesn't matter.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to it.
I am too.
It's like we have two people who, as much as you can, make fun of them, they both have solid heads on their shoulders, and they stand very largely by their side of the aisle's ideals. And
Right.
I can't remember the last time that two heavy hitters of this type, governors, go head to head with a matchup of ideology. And I'm excited to see who prevails. I think there's a couple things they can hit, including the border. You think the border too?
Oh, absolutely.
And
yeah, without a doubt. But by the way, on that, Dan, I got some great stuff here. Now, I know it's pretty hard to get him on, but he might be pumped up on this. We might be able to get him on. Governor Abbott of Texas is going to, he says now, last night this came down. He is going to send to these blue cities 70,000 more, quote, migrants. Philadelphia is getting 3,200.
No.
Now, I hope it comes in December just to see what Jim Kenney does. New York already has 130,000, right? I'm looking for it here. I wanted to get the exact number. I don't see. I remember that number though. 3,200 for Philadelphia, and I think New York's getting another 30,000. I don't see how that could be possible. I'd have to tell you, I put up on Twitter, and we're starting to talk about our person of the year. There is a lot recency bias, and I'll play it today. Elon Musk and what he said last night in this New York Times thing. But I also want people to think locally. And Robin Schaefer, the Wales guy at the Jersey Shore, definitely one of our nominees. Jeff Van Drew has been tremendous. But on the national level, what Governor Abbott has done is remarkable. I think it's both the moral thing and the political thing to do. I would say Abbott is a real contender for Person of the Year. Look at what he's gotten them to admit. They want to be a sanctuary city, but they're seeing they can't. They're essentially saying, well, these people have to be put back into Texas. We want them to decimate Texas. We don't want them coming here. Denver is even going to get a few thousand. LA is going to get 2,000. 70,000 more people are going to be shuttled here. I'm not exactly sure how they don't force them. So I'm not exactly sure what the incentive is, but 70,000. And Dan, I think that's going to be within the next month. That's a lot of buses. Even if it's a big bus, it's only about 60 people, right?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the quote here. It's a 12,500 to DC, 25,000 to New York City, 20,000 to Chicago, 3,200 to Philadelphia, over 7,400 to Denver, and over 1,100 to Los Angeles.
Now, I would just, if I got the governor on saying, Governor, you ever think about Rehoboth Beach? That's where I would do it. Now, it's being attacked as immoral. What's immoral about it? What's immoral is allowing the country to be overrun in things that we can't handle. And the people of Texas forced small towns there to bear this. Why should New York, Philadelphia, and these other big mouths that want to be sanctuary cities, they ought to be happy. Well, we can't handle it. Yeah, it's another failed progressive idea. So to Dan's point, the border. If you were DeSantis, what area would you try to pivot to tonight? I think COVID is a great one. It's not a hot button now, but it really shows what the two states did. The economy, you're going to have trouble with that. By happenstance of climate, movie industry, and all that, California is always going to have a pretty decent economy. Now, it should be great. It's the 7th largest in the world, or the 6th largest. It's a happenstance of, all the great stuff that's there.
He's been waffling back and forth, but I think DeSantis should definitely ask him straight on, are you in favor of reparations?
Yeah, definitely. Now, I think that would get a lot of hemming and hawing because that would box him in at home. So you got to give Newsom credit. We were told on this show, Dan, the architect of making this happen was Kimberly Guilfoyle. She said she got Newsom to agree to come on with Hannity. There you go. All right. Still can't get over that couple.
Right? Could you imagine?
I still can't get over that. The woman he's with now, his wife, they look more like the top of a wedding cake. Guilfoyle and Newsom, a little bit disjointed there. A little bit of a different type of thing. And the current wife is a blonde, the whole California looking,
Wow. She's very pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
I mean, so is Kimberly.
Yeah. If you like that type.
Really?
Yeah, I wish they could all be South Philly girls, not California girls. That's my national anthem.
Yeah, it's true.
All
I
right.
like that.
855-839-1210. AT&T and Verizon Wireless. You push pound 1210. Coming up, I'll play you Elon Musk. And again, the guy's got all the money in the world, so he can say these things. Good for him. But does it work? Who works in this standoff between Disney and Twitter? And if he doesn't have any ads, how long can he go forward with this? We'll see.
And on Twitter, Dom, we asked, what's something you worry about
Yes.
today that you didn't have to worry about 20 to 30 years ago? Great answer just came in. I want to highlight it. Dante's Disco Inferno says emotional support animals on airplanes.
Ah, that is a great. By the way, I like that handle, Dante's Disco Inferno. I'm a big fan of Dante, the Circles of Hell. What's the ninth circle of hell? Well, I'll play you some of it coming up. It's Joe Biden telling us corporate America is responsible for inflation. Not him. It's not him. All right. Big day's almost here. Join me this Saturday, December 2nd, at the Faith and Liberty Discovery Center at 5th and Market Streets in Old City, just across from the Liberty Bell. It's free admission all day as the Faith and Liberty Discovery Center kicks off the Christmas season. Tons of fun activities. Enjoy crafts for the kids, hot chocolate, holiday movies, see their Christmas tree, and 19th century inspired Christmas train display. You also meet former Birds player, 5-time Pro Bowler, Irving Fryer. I hear the guy has pretty good hands. We'll see about that. The Faith and Liberty Discovery Center is open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Then stick around for the Philly Holiday Parade starting at 5 right there on Market Street. This is a great new museum, free. I'll be there around noon. Visit faithandliberty.org, faithandliberty.org. All right, Dom Giordano show. Dan playing Hurt today. I'm really hurt.
It was
Eye
miserable.
Yes, bleach in the eye will do that.
Yeah, cleaning the bathroom yesterday, Dom. Another just a home ownership, first time home buyer. Another issue I'm dealing with. Cleaned some ceilings in the old place as we're moving out. We wanted to make it look nice for the landlord. I have a bleach solution that I'm cleaning off the ceiling with, and I see 3 droplets just slow motion go right into the left eye.
Oh,
It was horrible. I was yelling. I'm such a wimp, I guess, because I'm yelling like, oh my gosh, Maisie's
Well,
not there. No one's there. I'm alone.
I'm yelling and I'm not even involved.
Yeah,
And I'm thinking, bro, don't remind me of that.
It
Yes.
was terrible. I got on the phone with poison control because I didn't know how to call 911 because I didn't want to, tie up the lines.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. You might have a while. Sir, describe the type of bleach. That's what they would
thing.
ask
Like,
you.
I didn't want to have to go through all that. So I called poison control real quick. The lady's real nice. And I'm like, hey, what am I supposed to do? She goes, run your eye under the faucet or some kind of, steady lukewarm water for 20 minutes. And things should, it'll go out. And I talked to an EMT. And that's what I did. I stayed with pulsing water in the shower for 30 minutes, running it, holding open the eye under the water. And my eye is sore as hell today. And I'm hoping it's just because the pulsing of the water, but
yeah, I'm sure people will hit us on Twitter with.
So if I'm moving a little bit slow today, it's because of that. I'm a little distracted.
All right. Yeah, I would be too.
Still painful.
We won't take advantage of this. You'll be like Gavin Newsom versus DeSantis.
Hold on. YouTube.com/@12WP.
You can see the eye.
I'll put up my camera real quick. And doesn't look too bad anymore.
One thing about tonight, they're standing up, I think. Now, if they're standing, Dan, anywhere near each other, we're going to have like about a 6-inch difference in height, at least. So I don't know if DeSantis goes with the cowboy boots tonight or not.
The lifts.
Or would they allow him, like Bloomberg? Remember, he had that lift, that hydraulic lift we used to play, come up underneath him. And Dan, people say this all the time. You guys talk about this. Nobody cares about that. And the answer is they do care about it subconsciously.
Now introducing Gavin Newsom, governor of California, and Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida.
Yeah. I mean, way back when, Nixon, by most observations, beat Kennedy on radio. On TV, though, Nixon looked horrible. Kennedy looked as good as any president's ever looked. It matters. TV is very, very artificial. And it's going to matter tonight. Yeah.
This is interesting. I don't know if it means anything, but I Google Gavin Newsom height just to see what it is. It's 6'3". It comes up like right at the top. It's like a proud thing. Gavin Newsom / height 6'3". You Google Ron DeSantis height.
Yeah.
And it's like buried. There's nothing at the top of the Google search or anything. I can't find how tall the guy is.
Allegedly, they say 5'10". Yeah. I would say
he says he's 5'11".
I don't see that, but I'll tell you this: Gavin Newsom is 6'3". All right, I've taken pictures with him. All. Yeah, the guy's got it all. Yeah, he does. So tonight is important in that sense, without a doubt. All right, here is Joe Biden. I'm coming to your calls right after this. Here's Joe Biden. I have to say, the last 2 days, people have been spectacular on inflation, what it's doing to us, how brutal this is as we move into Christmas. Here's Biden yesterday kind of dipping into what Bob Casey Jr. is running on. It's not me. It's not me, Dom.
Whisper.
It's the corporations. That's it. It's the corporations.
It's their fault.
It's greedflation. I'm getting you freer drugs. By the way, this whole attack on big pharma stuff,
Look, rephrase that.
I get some of it. But some of it, if we don't have them spending a lot of money because they don't know which one of these things is going to hit, and they're too crippled by what a Biden would do, then that's not going to be good either. They got to roll the dice. I know big pharma because of vaccines. That's one area, but I'm talking about life-saving and enhancing drugs. All right, here's Biden. It's corporate greed.
Wages for working families have gone up while inflation has come down 65%. Wait
a minute. Yeah, it's come down from Mount Everest to only 15,000 feet above sea level. That's 65%, Dom. You're only going to fall 15,000 feet. God, there we go.
Wages for working families have gone up while inflation has come down 65%. Giving families a little more money in their pockets and a little more breathing room for this holiday season.
Breathing room?
But we know the prices are still too high for too many things. That times are still too tough for too many families. But we made progress, but we have more work to do.
You caused
Let me be clear. To any corporation that's not brought their prices back down, even as inflation has come down, even as supply chains have been rebuilt, it's time to stop the price gouging and give the American consumer a break.
This is going to be the strategy. He's laying it out right here. Is that going to fly with people? Look, with people that are hell bent to believe this stuff and want to vote for Democrats and hate corporate, yada, yada, we don't care about them, just like we don't care about those who despise that. We care about the persuadables. Are persuadable people going to say, that's right, Biden's right? Why did you not bring that down to the level that we're at now? As if every corporation, there's no competition out there in America. Dan, we didn't look up the other day, just as a point. If McDonald's in Grace Ferry was $12.52 for a Big Mac, fries, and a Sprite, remember the thing the guy they were going after showed a picture of the $16 burger and the whole thing. What is maybe a burger? I don't know what would be a comparable meal. You're the guru, the czar of fast food.
Yep.
I don't know what would be comparable, and if it were anywhere near a place like Grace Ferry, what it would cost you. But I bet this is one of the most competitive markets imaginable. McDonald's is not charging $12.52, gouging people, because if they did, people are going to go to another fast food place, probably, right? Make sense?
Yeah.
There's a million choices. How many fast food giants are there in Philadelphia?
Do you want to go to Yardley and see how much it would be?
Yeah, let's see in Yardley. Okay.
Yeah, let's
For McDonald's there?
Yeah, Trenton Ave and Morrisville, close enough to Yardley.
Okay.
It's actually less.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was $10.99 before tax in Grace Ferry. It's $9.69 out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's an anomaly.
With tax, it would be $10.28. So it's about like almost $2 cheaper.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm saying, would another competitor have whatever their premier meal is, that there would be a big difference with McDonald's? All right, let me take a call here while we're sorting all that out. Let's go to Joe in Westchester. Joe, you're on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Joe, what do you have on the side question? Hi, what do you have today?
Well, mine is, and I know this may not bother everybody, but it bothers me as I get older here, beeping. It seems that everything beeps now, right?
Yeah.
The phone, my wife has two cell phones. They both beep, and then mine might beep. I don't know whose phone is beeping, right? I said, whose phone is that, right? Because they're all in different places, right? And then there's the refrigerator. If you have the doors open too long and you need them open, right? Because you're cleaning out or getting stuff, beeping. That my phone beeps about bedtime. I think my wife put some of this on, but I know you could take some of it off, but then you're afraid you miss some. The stories that kind of the
gotcha beeping. I gotcha. Stop that hammering. That's not bad, Dan. There's a lot of things beeping there. Oh God, that's the worst beep of all. All right, that starts us off. That's something that you have to deal with that you did 20 years ago. Pronouns, I said. Joe has the beeping. I had also, in addition to the pronouns.
So we had one of our left-leaning trolls on Twitter go off with a couple of them. You want to go through them?
Yeah, go ahead.
What is something you didn't have to worry about 20 years ago that you have to worry about today? The MAGA cult.
There you go. That's it. Yeah.
Losing relatives to Fox News. Mass shootings, she writes in.
Oh,
way to stay positive over here. Yeah.
Left-wing misery index.
But Head of Lettuce, who also calls in, has a great answer today. The GPS will lead me wrong, whereas old-fashioned maps never did if you mapped it out prior.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear that often about the GPS, that it's some kind of negative because the people using it get lost with it. But
I don't. Well, Roe uses Siri and is in love with Siri.
Yeah, it's
Siri,
great.
Well, I told you, though, we're coming over the Walt Whitman Bridge to go to a place in South Jersey, and Siri wants us to go through Camden. No, Siri, I don't think we're going to do that.
It's like Michael Scott when he takes a right into the lake.
Right.
Right.
Rather
like
where
you
the
guys.
side. Yeah. No, we're not going to go through Camden, Ro. Sorry, but Siri says, nope, we're not doing that. All right, 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. Rescue Natural Supplements unprecedented Black Friday sale is back again, and this year the savings bigger and better than ever. Right now, they're slashing prices on all supplements with discounts ranging from 50 to an incredible 80% off the total cost. Rescue has a wide array of products to address your health needs, including immunity and cholesterol support, heart health, and natural energy enhancers. That's 50% off omega-3s, probiotics, and a lot more. One more thing. The Rescue Black Friday sale will run the entire month of November. So shop today at res-q.com, res-q.com, or call a Rescue product consultant at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Again, all Rescue supplements are 50 to 80% off during the entire month of November. So why wait? Start shopping right now with Rescue, res-q.com. Tom Giordano Show. Welcome in at 855-839-1210. AT&T and Verizon Wireless. You just push pound 1210. So Phil Murphy yesterday comes out swinging on the whole let's kill some more whales issue and says they're going to have a multitude of these wind projects. And he's not waiting to put out bidding and all the procedure until later in 2024. He's doing it right now. My God, the sheer arrogance. And I know some people, when this happened, goes, well, I thought we won on this. Well, winning is only today's game. With progressives, they're fighting to dictate to us forever. So if you get that, maybe you don't feel overwhelmed. Well, can't we chalk that one up as a win? Well, yeah, but what do you think do you think they're just going to go away? A guy like Phil Murphy, who's gotten away with murder already, and the wifey? No. Larry Krasner? No. Joe Biden? They're going to keep on coming at you. So what you have to do is you have to keep on winning elections and keep on making policies that stop them.
God save the Queen!
Thank you. And move us further along on the traditional values of the country. That's what this comes down to. It's never, but I mean, you would think, now see, he's able to do it in a state with Jersey. Are these people in New Jersey more insane than we think every day? That there's not a huge backlash, all the money they lost with this Orsted thing, all that was exposed there, all these beautiful animals killed without even having them fully operational? No, they're on the march. That's what he's telling you. So Robin Schaefer, the group that fights him at the Jersey Shore, will be here a little bit later. to talk about what's next up yet with this. Be engaged. Don't say, oh my God, how much of this stuff? And realize too, even if the presidency's won in 2024, we had the presidency before. And look what they did during COVID in a place like Pennsylvania. They shut it down. These school boards went wild. Be engaged. It's a constant battle for your freedom. This guy, Ed Nielsen, too. I mean, we've been texting him. People have been giving me, Dan, a couple of cop sources sent me his phone and all that. Dan's on it, saying it's his job to modify your behavior, to stop your behavior, and to put speed cameras all over Pennsylvania. So when I tell you Philadelphia is coming for you, Dan, this is a great example of Philadelphia coming for you, for the suburbs. These wouldn't be just in Philadelphia, the speed cameras. They'd be all over the suburbs. They'd be all over where this nitwit wants to put them. Is that what we want? Now, I've said this many times before. We could put cameras on every human activity. And I guess the argument will be people know this is like Minority Report. How about if we do that? We know you have a predisposition to commit a crime, so we're going to stop you even before you commit it. Why wait? We could put you under camera 24 hours a day. We can put all of us under camera 24 hours a day. Is that really what we want? Well, this maniac does. That's what speed cameras are about. They use the Roosevelt Boulevard, which is an anomaly, to get red light cameras. And then what happened? Well, they put them all over the place. And now what happened? Well, now they want to put speed cameras all over the place. All right, let's go to Joe in the Northeast on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Joe, good afternoon. Hi.
Hi, Dom. Hey, Dan. You guys are familiar with the high-speed exit at like the Blue Route and Bristol? When you're on the turnpike, you don't have to slow down. You just fly through those things.
Okay.
And I assume there's one out in Ohio. But they're building them all down the turnpike. They're building the frameworks and a small building that I assume to house the electronics.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to take your average speed as you go down the turnpike. And they're either going to take it right out of your Easy Pass or they're going to send you a speeding ticket.
Well,
These are all brand new. Just being built
okay,
now.
yeah, I will check on that. But look, these things are partially about money. I happen to believe,
sure.
Joe, many times they're more about control. These people want to control our behavior. This guy believes he's sent to Harrisburg to modify your behavior and my behavior.
Oh, yeah, and that's their God-given right, they think.
We'll check
I
on
think
that,
that's
though.
true.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much for that tip. Look, the bottom line, this is a classic. Using the Roosevelt Boulevard, which was an idea, put a highway, then the city was built around it. You know the whole history of that. They use that now to broaden all these things out and to say, why not? Let's put red light cameras all over now speed cameras. And this guy wants to make January 6th in Philadelphia public schools this mandatory day of remembrance because he says cops were attacked in Washington. Oh, really? Larry Krasner is a member of your party. What are you saying about that, Eddie? The driving equity clowns in city council. Do you have any thoughts on that? All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. Guy Shiraki will be here next. He's got a big piece in Politico today. That's big league stuff about why Republicans are still losers when it comes to mail-in ballots. What has to be done to stop that? Because if we don't do that, we are really rolling the dice in 2024. I don't think we win Pennsylvania unless we do substantially better. And it's not, the metrics are there of how to do it. Why are they not doing it? How's that going getting the state head on here, Dan? Not yet? I guess he's busy with mail-in ballot campaigns.
Send an email right now.
Okay. All right, 855-839-1210, AT&T and Verizon Wireless. You get in with Dom. Probably Dan time with Dom today. Might be a bit subdued, given this IR stuff here. All right, I'll throw it to your one eye that you can see. Not
My
the other
one
eye.
eye's very awake. My
Yeah,
left
yeah,
eye
yeah,
is
it
just
looks very much, yeah.
wide
What
open.
happened to Maisie get upset or something? There?
Right.
No, yeah, 855-839-1210. It is downtime. Dan, I see somebody there. Let's move into the front of the line. Says we need these speed cameras. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, friend of the show, and he's all over the place. He's arrived in Politico today. If you write a column that's of anything political, that's big time. Guy Shiraki, today, he's a senior fellow with the Commonwealth Foundation. He can be found in Real Clear, Pennsylvania, Broad and Liberty. Follow him at PA Suburbs Guy. That's a good handle. And Guy today writing about, well, the upcoming election and where we are and what the heck is going on still with mail-in ballots. And I think one of the times we talked about, Guy, he agreed, we need a consortium of people that can turn the heat up on these Republicans. Now, on Saturday, I'm going to be over at 1810 Venango Street with Scott Presler as he trains people, then has a door knocking, but it's about mail-in ballots, too. He's the biggest proponent out there of that, of banking those. And one of the best things I've seen, and a sign of dread, 2023 election, Democrats, when they had a self-described Democrat at the polls after voting, they would ask them, step over here, I have my iPad. I'm glad you showed up and voted in person today, but you can bank your vote in advance. Let's do it right now. Right there. The election of 2023, not even decided, and they're banking the votes for the next time around. So what the heck are we doing here? Let's see if Guy can take us inside that here on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Guy, big time stuff. Congratulations on this Politico piece.
I appreciate it. They approached me a few weeks ago if I consider writing a piece about Pennsylvania, and you and I have talked about it before. I wrote a piece in Broad and Liberty 2 years ago saying that we were unilaterally disarming, that we were giving up, that we were ceding it. And it's 2 years later. We've now suffered through the 22 cycle, the 2023 cycle. And when Politico offered me the opportunity, I thought I would do it so that people across the state and across the nation, look, if Republicans want to win the White House, if Republicans want to win the U.S. Senate back and protect the House, we need a mail-in campaign in Pennsylvania. We need to stop talking about it and doing it. And I've lived through a lot, and a lot of this stuff was in my mind or anecdotal, so I want to take some time and go through the data. So in case anybody was undecided or unsure, I want to say, well, here are the numbers, and hopefully, if not just losing doesn't make you want to do it, then look at the numbers. And when you look at this past election, we had an excellent candidate for the Supreme Court. I think most people would concede our candidate was a better candidate. We picked the central casting candidate, a female from Montgomery County. She loses by 214,000. She loses it by 214,000, but we lost mail-in by 458,000. I mean, she was behind 458,000 before the first person went to the polls on election day. We can't win races if we don't get into this game. I don't understand why we haven't. And if we don't do it in 2024, there's no sense counting the votes.
Yes. Well, give me your best guess why. I mean, I have pretty good contact with a couple reliable people at the state level, but the main guy, I don't know what the heck he's doing there, the chairman of the state. This ought to be, people, the smarter people said, cut TV ads if you have to. Put in the people that know what they're doing and how to get mail-in done. And I think Ethan Kay is one guy I think that I think he knows what he's doing. I think there are several. These are the people I'd put in charge and give them an incentive, a financial incentive, if they succeed, and they'll do it. So what's your best guess of what the missing links are here?
Well, I think it's a few things, and you're right. I mean, there's a lot of us been talking about it, and I will tell you that what changed this year is people talked about it. Party leaders would talk about it. We're done talking about it. We need to actually do it. And what I showed in the column is that when we had the old-fashioned system of just absentee ballot, we used to beat them. When John McCain ran against Barack Obama in 2008, and the Barack Obama grassroots wave and MoveOn.org and all the left-wing groups came out, Pennsylvania Republicans still filed more absentee ballots than the Democrats in 2008. We did it in 2016. So we know we can be competitive. And the good news is we're losing by 4.5 to 1. We don't have to beat them. I think if we get it down to 3 to 1, we can do it. What do I think the apprehension is? I think that there's still disagreement in the party as to whether it's worthwhile. There's still a distrust of it. And I think there's also a sense that it doesn't matter that much. And my point was, President Trump carried Pennsylvania by less than a point. He lost Pennsylvania by just about a point. We're one seat short in the state house. Even if we only get 50,000 more voters to the polls, it's worth the effort. But I think there's a hesitancy, and some people still don't believe in it. And one of the reasons I wanted to use real numbers and real data is hope that when people see it in black and white, they understand that being serious about it, and that being serious about it will make a difference. And we don't need to add 1 million mail-in voters. If we added 200,000 or 300,000 mail-in voters out of a state with 4 million Republicans, if we added 200,000 mail-in voters, we'd probably win the presidency and Dave McCormick to the Senate.
I hear you, but Guy, there's a simple thing here too. I heard it's almost ignorant to me. You have a great anecdote in here. They said it's taken from Peter to pay Paul and all this with voters. No, it's
Right.
not. Here's what Democrats do. When they know they have that vote banked and they're 90% certain and they keep on following up, maybe it's 95 to 98% if they get the mail-in ballot, then they
Yeah.
start to go after voters that are harder to acquire. And they're freed up with resources, people, and money to go after those voters because they've already banked the other. We're busy trying to get these people to make sure they come out on election day, but that's an iffy thing. We don't know if they're banked or not, so we continue doing it. We can't extend our reach, take a shot here. It's like, I would liken it somewhat to this. Smarter quarterbacks know the other team was offside, Rodgers, somebody like that. What do? They'll throw the ball 60 yards down the field. Why not take a shot? It's a free play. That's what Democrats are doing here.
Look, Dom, you explained it perfectly. I mean, that's the issue. I believe we can increase turnout, and what the goal is to increase more supporters. Before we even get into how do you win over suburban people that are leaving the party, I want to start at a more basic. The people that are sitting home watching television or stuck out of town on a business trip or sitting on their couch and didn't feel motivated, if we can get them a ballot and we can bank their vote ahead of time, we're ahead of the game. So before we get into fighting over how to get independents or how to get Democrats to come to us, I just want to get people who already agree with us, who already want our candidates to win, let's get them to cast the ballot. And you're 1,000% right. If Dom Giordano votes on October 20th, for the remaining 2 weeks of the campaign, we don't have to send you text messages. We don't have to call you, and nobody has to knock on your door on election day. By your voting early, it's like you're making a $200 contribution to the party. It's an easy thing to do.
And you said something there too. I don't know why, they're not feeling the juice with a particular candidate. They're too bland. You hear this with conservatives. They don't like a rhino Republican, whatever. But they will fill out a mail-in ballot because it's there. And over the course of time, they'll say, it's my duty to vote. I'll do it. But maybe they won't do it on election day. Maybe they'll say, I was too busy. I know that's hard to believe, but it's happening. Whereas with this, the vote's done. You can do it in your spare time in 5 minutes.
Oh, you can. Look, I've done it because for the last several years, as you and I have discussed, with my helping other candidates or when I was running, I voted by mail. You can take out your phone, go to the Department of State website right now. I mean, Dom could do it. They shouldn't do it now because this is very important. But at the next commercial break, you can do this on your phone, right? You can do this on your phone in under 2 minutes, apply for it, and the ballot will come. And to your point on the Democrats, as we get ready for 2024, I remind people about 2020. Joe Biden received 1.4 million more mail-in votes than Donald Trump. 1.4 million. That's as if, I know we think this happens in real time, but it's as if every single Philadelphian from birth to 100 filed by mail-in. 1.4 million. And as you said rightfully, they were out there registering people now. They're probably ready to produce 1.5 or 1.6 million. And we're stuck at 400,000. If we just move the needle a little bit, my calculation is we're losing 4.5 to 1. If we get it under 3 to 1, we win. What more easy? We can fight about abortion. We can fight about guns. We can fight about Trump, DeSantis. Okay, whoever the nominee is, whatever his or her platform is, right? If we can increase mail-in voters by 200,000, we probably send the next Republican to the White House, and Dave McCormick's a senator. Republicans control the Senate. That is life-changing. For us to sit on the sidelines is malpractice.
It is. So, Guy, last time we talked, were you thinking of getting together a group that's going to try to use any kind of leverage imaginable to light the fire under Republicans to have to do this?
Yeah, so there are two things that are happening, and there are a whole series of conversations, and one is talking about mail-ins. But my point is, this isn't rocket science. We could spend the next 5 years analyzing it. They did it in Virginia, and anybody thinks we can't do it. Everybody should remember, 3 years ago, the Virginia Republican Party had nothing. They didn't have the House, they didn't have the Senate, they didn't have governor, they didn't have anything. Glenn Youngkin latched onto the parents' movement, becomes it, and now did what he did in the state house. If they can do it in Virginia, we can do it here. So there's folks talking about mail-in. There's also folks talking about reevaluating and making sure that voters know what we're for, not only on abortion, but a bunch of stuff. You know, the last 3 years have been about Republicans complaining about all the damage the Democrats are doing. And as I've said and I've written, the Democrats are doing a ton of damage to our cities, our state, and our nation. What we need to tell people we're for. So I can tell you the good news is that people are talking about mail-in. The good news is people are talking about what our positive agenda is. But I want to see them in practice. I want to hear the candidates talking about the party officials. We have got to step up on mail-in. It is imperative. It is the one thing in our control. We can't control the media. We can't control the Democrats. We can control this.
Exactly.
They're talking about it, but we need to keep the fire going because I've been in meetings where we've talked about it. The state party established a blue ribbon panel last year after we lost, and it didn't happen. We need to keep it going. And look, I don't want to beat up anybody. I'm not interested in beating up anybody who's a Republican Party official now. I don't have time to beat them up. All good people of goodwill. Let's come together and do this. We used to dominate in absentee balloting. We just have to draw closer in mail-in. For us not to do it is to commit malpractice and to give this state to the Democrats. Victory's within our grasp. I tried saying it locally, it didn't work. Now I'm saying it nationally. You keep talking about it, I'll keep writing about it. We've got to find a way to do this. If we do it, we win. It's that simple. If we do it, we win.
Couldn't agree more, Guy. Thank you. Congratulations on being in Politico today. To be continued.
Thank you.
All right, there's Guy Shiraki here on Talk Radio 1210. What he said, and you believe it, I believe it. If we win the presidency, we'll keep the House, obviously, and the Senate, which is certainly doable. The narrow points toward Republicans, that's life-changing. Life changes. We don't have to live under this adult clown, selfish man and his inflation. Just right there, think of how your life is different. Compare the Trump economy, the conditions in versus what this man has done to us. It's obvious what he's done, and he's going to keep on doing it. What the heck is going on? I'm reading in his column, and I'll tell you this. Some of these people are still going, oh, I don't know about this mail-in stuff because that's robbing from Peter to pay Paul. What difference does it make when they show up? Just here, not even thinking about it. I'll debate all those people at once. Bring them in. Bring Dan, whoever you can get on. Bring 10 of them in. Are you kidding me? Now, you may not like to hear this if you're a Trump supporter. Trump's got to do better on this. I know it may seem like a tough pivot. He's vaguely pivoted. He's got to sit down, write it however he wants, and in every event that he has, encourage people with mail-in balloting. Do you want to win, or do you want to continue this pit of your stomach on election night? Oh, what happened here? This hack, McCaffrey, had a 400,000 plus vote lead against a great candidate for the Pennsylvania Senate. Dana Hunter, who lost out there in Central Bucks, did an interview with her. Dan, it's 4:00 on Friday, I believe, Reading, Writing, and Reason. I do hope you'll tune in.
4:00 Saturday.
Saturday, right. 4:00 Saturday. Usually to be 10 a.m. every Saturday, but due to basketball stuff that happened. But we're on at 4, and I'm very grateful for that. We have an exclusive interview with her. what happened, what she thinks happened. And one of the things she talked about was mail-in balloting, even in the school board race. If you have a 400,000 to nothing lead at that point, you know, you can show up all you want on election day. We get it. But maybe they weren't vote. You know, maybe people said, yeah, well, I kind of like what Carluccio was saying, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going out and vote. Good. Just vote by mail then, you know, when you're there. That's the point. They're good at this. Well, I don't care. I just want to win and I don't care about. Okay, just continue losing then. Trump's got to say more and say it directly. This has to be take resources, beg, borrow, or steal, and go after this. And if you don't want to do that, you're going to keep losing. It's all about winning. If you don't win, our lives are going to change for the worse. And even worse could be President Harris. Just imagine that. Whew. I don't know what I could do to put the sweat on the back. Where do I get that mail-in ballot? All right, 855-839-1210. You get on board. All right, side question today. Give us something that has changed, something you didn't have to worry about 20 years ago. Pronouns. Mine was cash not always being accepted. That's under fire. Dan, yours again was?
I had bring in a charger everywhere.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Anybody else on Twitter? Do you like any others?
Someone says my knees, which is a very
Yeah,
personal
exactly.
answer.
Yeah, okay.
But Great Unwinding says, hold on, let me make sure that no one has it on board right now. No one has it. Whether or not I should buy a gas-powered car or not, because gas stations might be obsolete in 10 to 15 years as the Biden administration forces us into buying ineffective electric vehicles.
Or gas stoves, unless Kamala Harris is coming over, and then you can have all the gas you want.
Speaking of gas, I had the pleasure of, pulling up to a gas station, having someone pump my gas this morning. It was fantastic.
Oh, where was that?
Over in Jersey. Yeah, over in
that's illegal.
No, someone pumped my gas, I'm saying.
Yes, that's right, in Jersey. I'm saying, Oh, why am I?
No,
You're
not
right.
in PA.
I thought you were
Jersey.
right. You're
It was great. It was a pleasure. It was fantastic.
Oh, okay. Keep that up. Yeah. You know
didn't
what?
have to get out of my car. Didn't have to start smelling like gas.
All right. See, you're one-upping me. You got beaten on the speed cameras. Now you're playing to theirs. You know, the mob will come after me because I want to pump my own gas. How about this? You don't have to pump your gas. We get a badge in our car that this person's allowed to pump their gas.
Get a badge.
I'll pay,
It's a badge.
Here's my badge. I can pump my own gas.
A discounted Easy Pass.
Yeah, a discounted Easy Pass.
I pump my own gas.
Yeah. All right, 855-839-1210. You get
Hasn't been sober. My TV watching me.
I don't even like people pumping my gas, though. I just feel these poor guys out there doing it. No, I don't even like that. I don't see it as a lot. I get nervous with the luxury stuff and all. I'd rather just do it myself.
What luxury stuff? Are you putting premium in your car?
Like Roe not liking the edging, so we have to have an edging guy.
I see what you're saying.
I hate the edging guy. I don't want to see edging. Come on, it's good enough here. Let's not have a professional.
It's fine. It's good.
All right, coming up, more of your calls, and this is a big story for this year to the good. Nearly half of all U.S. companies are planning to axe bachelor's degrees as requirements.